wanted to talk about Crackdown 3.
Yes.
Joe saw a demo of it. You actually played it.
Yeah.
How's the gameplay looking these days?
I really liked what I played.
Yeah?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked Crackdown 1. I actually never played 2 because I heard it was not worth my time. But I really fell right back into it pretty quickly. I was like, oh, yeah, this is fun. You can, pick up cars, and, I love going after the little icons and stuff. And, there was, one thing that really made me enjoy it a lot. Or rather, there was one thing that I could see as being the main thing that improved it over Crackdown 1 at this stage. I only played it for about 10 minutes. Is that you now have just a little bit of an extra jetpack jump, like a third jump, and then you can also dash forward in midair with your jetpack. And the thing that it means is I never hit that point where I was like, I just missed that ledge. You always have a little bit of extra oomph on your jumping.
So it's less like you're incredible hulking around boom, boom.
Yes.
And you have a lot more mobility in the air.
Yes, which I guess.
Wait, how's that go?
If I boom.
So it used to be boing, boing, but now it's
zip,
boing,
zip.
boing, boing,
and
zip.
now it's more of a lasso situation.
I think in
apparently.
3 dimensions, Reiner, you can't hold me down. You can't flatten me.
One weird thing is, I guess, what we refer to him as, the narrator, that voice that talks to you.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know if maybe it was just for the E3 demo, but it was that thing that Nintendo is really bad about often, is that when you go play a game at their booth, the people who are handling the demos are way too complimentary to you, where they're like, oh my gosh, you must be the greatest gamer ever made.
You know how to hold a Joy-Con.
I've never seen anyone do that demo so well.
Exactly, and that is basically that is injected into the game from the narrator, where he's like, oh my gosh, you really blew up those bad guys.
See,
You're driving really fast. This is amazing.
In a funny way?
Yes, I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
That narrator's always been a little tongue-in-cheek. Right?
Yeah, but let's
I
go.
think so.
I mean, the narrator was the big twist in Crackdown 1, right?
Yeah, I don't. It's
the narrator and the Halo 3 demo. Those are the two defining aspects of Crackdown 1 in my mind.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it was. I like I said, I got back into it really fast, where I was just blowing stuff up, and I had this cool new black hole gun, which doesn't make any damn sense, but it's it just sucks everything in, and then you can just shoot a grenade into the middle of that and explode everything, and it was great. And
It's more cel-shaded than I expected, looking at gameplay footage.
Yeah, and the first two were, but it is turned up a little bit here. Yeah, so I had a good time with it. I'm excited to play the full game.
One thing I saw in my demo that I thought was interesting, just I didn't get my hands on it, but from a mechanical standpoint, they said that in playtest, one of the things they found about the previous ones is that it got a little frustrating to be okay, there's a body over there that I want to pick up, or there's some an explosive thing on the ground that I want to pick up and use, and you'd sort of have to walk over to it and maneuver yourself around it and press the pickup button.
Video games, you mean?
Normal, yeah, except that if you're trying to maintain this kind of kinetic flow of combat,
right.
that gets in the way. So what they have is sort of, I think they're calling it I don't know exactly. They called it a hook shot, but that's not what it is. But that's just conceptually. The idea is that it's just instead of having to go up to the car and grab it, you can sort of be in the general area of the car, and you are able to sort of tether it or draw it toward you. And
is it just a wider circle of interactivity? Is that kind of what it is, or?
I mean, it's big enough that they needed an in-universe explanation for the fact that you have some sort of gadget that will suck these things up into your hand.
It must have been pretty subtle, because I didn't pick up on it, or maybe I wasn't grabbing enough stuff that was far away. Maybe I was still in I remember Crackdown 1. I got to walk up to this stuff and grab it,
So it's like a suck glove?
Yeah, it's a suck glove.
The old suck
Ooh,
glove.
Dr. Sucklove.
But yeah, it's very fluid. Like that. Like I said, it's kind of a small thing, but that little jetpack jump just makes it flow so much more evenly, because I was never missing a ledge. It felt like a fun platformer.
Well, what about the destruction? Because that was the big thing a while ago. You're talking about in multiplayer, just having crazy levels of destruction.
So they clarified that in the demo for me. What that is a competitive multiplayer exclusive feature. So the idea is in the single player campaign, you need to save the citizens, save the city, was how they framed it. So it wouldn't make sense that you're just destroying their homes and stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
Also, maybe it's technically demanding, and that's just the narrative reason they came up with for not doing it.
Sure.
But whatever, for whatever reason, in competitive multiplayer is when they're using that cloud-based destruction, in which you can sort of use the environment and buildings in a lot more clever ways to basically use them as weapons against your opponents.
I did. So when I was playing the demo, which isn't often in a lot of demos at E3 and stuff, but it actually did give me a timer of 10 minutes. So in the last 30 seconds, I really tried my best to break the game and like use the black hole gun in a big traffic jam and started throwing all my rockets and all my grenades at it and everything. And like, I didn't notice any stuttering or anything like that.
The narrator's like, way to go, break our game.
You've gone too far.
Oh, Christ, I'm dissolving.
Yeah, good time.
Is there a world, Joe, where you look at this game differently post Saints Row 4? Did you think about Saints Row 4 at all while watching this demo? Because people
Saints
might
Row
still
3.
be 4, right? 4 is a
4.
superhero one.
Oh yeah. 3's the best one, but 4 is
Four is the one that felt like a Crackdown game.
Yeah.
I think, I guess that's a good question. I think in this one, it's more like firearms focused and more like environmentally ability Like Saints Row 4 was all about just like using those powers more or less. Like that's what it really hinged on.
Yeah.
And in this one, it seems like they still have that Crackdown core of like creating scenarios that have multiple solutions just based on how you've chosen to develop your character.
Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.